What is up, guys? Welcome back to the 1912 Exiles Podcast. So the big news that we're starting with this week is the possibility of losing Mike Flynn to Shrewsbury. At the moment, he is 2-5 on to be the manager, and Sam Ricketts is 7-2. He's the next nearest candidate. The club did release a statement yesterday saying that they had received no formal approach for Flinney, and he's been pretty coy in his press conferences. He's made no mystery of it, the fact that he wants to move up the leagues, and he wants to manage in the Premier League one day. He's still very young for a manager, and with time he might make it, and I do wish him that success. Obviously, it'd be very disappointing to see him leave, as he's done so well at the club. He's got us in a really good position. We are, I think, 5th at the moment, just outside the automatic promotion places. And to be honest, at the start of the season, most fans were looking at mid-table at the best. Some people were even saying, as long as we're not in a relegation battle, that's a success. So to take this squad, a lot of them are still the same players we had in the Great Escape season. Take those players and to get this amount out of them shows his man management skills in terms of getting the most out of the talent that he's got, and also maybe shows how bad some of the managers we had before were, that they couldn't get these levels of performances out of these players. Definitely be sad to see him go. We'd obviously get a compensation package if he did leave. And moving up another rung in the pyramid is obviously what he'd be looking at if he did leave. In terms of finding a next manager, if Flynn does leave, Ardley would have been my choice. Unfortunately, he's just signed with Notts County. Another managerial change for them. Them and Crawley seem to have a bit of a revolving door at the moment. So there's not many sort of that stand out at the moment. I think temporarily Lenny Lawrence probably would take charge. I'd imagine Wayne Hatswell would go with Flinney if he did leave. So I think Lenny Lawrence probably would step in as the caretaker manager for now. Maybe even Byron Anthony, who's been running the youth academy for a while. So it'll definitely cause a bit of upheaval, and hopefully it doesn't affect the players on the pitch too much. Certainly the speculation can't help, but I'm sure Flinney's working with them to sort of keep them focused on the games coming up. We have Northampton tonight, and then we've got the FA Cup game against Wrexham on the weekend. The Wrexham game is an exciting one from a fan's point of view. It's always nice to play another Welsh team due to the rivalry, but it's definitely got the potential for an upset. They've been in pretty good form. I think they've dropped down to 3rd in the conference at the moment. Their form in the last 10 games is pretty similar to ours. So they've played 10, won 5, drawn 3, and lost 2. And we've won 4, drawn 3, lost 3. Unfortunately, that loss was in our last game, which kind of spoilt the momentum generated by that really good result against Colchester, who are a very good team. And we also had the 2 wins in the cup games prior to that. So we had the Met Police game and the Plymouth game in the cups, and we got wins from them as well. So it's a shame just to see that momentum falter a bit coming into an important FA Cup game. Obviously, we've got tonight's game to go first as well. But Wrexham lost in their previous game as well. They lost 2-0 to Leyton Orient. But I think the racecourse is going to be a difficult place to go. It's quite a big ground for the conference. It's 15,500, and they've been filling it. So 5,000 average attendance in the conference is fantastic. And then if you consider it'll be a bumper crowd because it's an FA Cup game against another Welsh team, we're probably going to take quite a few fans up there. You could easily see that around the 10,000 mark. So it's going to be a brilliant atmosphere at the racecourse. The only thing that may stop county fans going up is the fact that it's going to be on BT Sport. And it's an 8 o'clock kickoff. So people might not want to make that long journey and be coming back so late when they could stay at home and watch it on the telly. But hopefully we get a bumper crowd supporting the lads and we can get a result there. It's definitely got upset potential. But if we play like we did against Colchester, then I definitely think we can come away with the result, and then that puts us in the third round. Like last year, you get a good draw. You can certainly make a bit of money for the club, and there's always that chance that we could upset a bigger team and go on and face another team like Tottenham again. We know how much financially that helped the club last season, but it did kind of derail our league campaign a bit. I think our players were mentally and physically, after chasing around the Spurs players, exhausted. And I think that impacted then the rest of the season. We lost some momentum, and from there we kind of stumbled our way towards the finish line and finished outside of the playoff places. I think given the position we're in right now, playoff places have to be the aim. I was thinking the other day, when's too early to dream? But we're now 19 games into the season, 19 league games, sorry, and we're sat in the playoff places. We're only behind Mansfield and Colchester on goal difference, so we're in a very good position at this stage of the season, almost halfway through now. And I think maybe we can sort of be looking up at that table. We've already shown we can beat Colchester. We took a bit of a hammering first game of the season against Mansfield, but you think this squad on their day they can beat these teams in the playoffs? And maybe we're not going to catch Lincoln and MK Dons, but it's not unrealistic to suggest we might be able to get an automatic spot, and we might be able to back ourselves in the playoffs if it comes to it. I definitely think it's worth sort of dreaming. It's what being a fan's all about, and it's another reason why Flynn might want to stay. He's always said that he wants to leave a legacy at Newport, and gaining a promotion will only build his reputation. So he kind of has unfinished business here, I think, and I'm hoping that's the message that's communicated to him by the fans at the games and by the players and the board, that we obviously want him to stay, and he's got the opportunity to achieve something really special with the club, from turning us round from surviving on the last day of the season to 18 months later getting promoted would be an absolutely incredible achievement, and it would give him probably even more opportunities to move up into League One as the manager of a bigger side. Or if we do get promoted, he'd be manager of a League One side, and he gets to stay at home in Newport. So moving on to January plans, I think he's already said that the board will back him in January, which is another good incentive for him to stay. Obviously, managers always want more money to spend, but he's also threatened for some players leaving if they keep making individual mistakes, which I think quite a few of our goals are coming from, and it could see some changes in fortunes for some of the current squad. I think mainly where we probably will want to be strengthening is in defence. We've conceded quite a lot of goals. We've only kept 8 clean sheets this season out of the 25 games we've played. And some of the games that we've lost as well, we've lost quite heavily. We've had a few 3-0s, 4-0s, 1-6-0, and then we've also had quite a few 3-3s, 3-2s. So it's a lot of goals to be conceding. Luckily, we're scoring quite a lot, but we may want to look at sort of tightening up a bit at the back. I do think we could probably do with another centre back. We've got 4 on the books at the moment, but Scott Bennett is also our supplementary defensive midfielder. It's only really him and Croft who we play as defensive midfielders. I'm sure Labadie could probably do that job, but last season he was playing more of the advanced role that Backinson's been playing this season. So I do think just maybe an extra body at centre half, especially now Scott Bennett's out with a longer term injury. It may be a benefit if we're playing with 3 centre halves to only have 4 on the books and one of them drops into midfield or pushes forward into midfield even quite regularly. I think we just need an extra body in there. So that may be one to look at. We've talked about Tyler Forbes coming in for criticism of some of his defending before, but he is still quite a young player. Dan Butler came in for criticism when he first arrived. If he can learn from his mistakes and improve under the guidance of Flynn and Hatswell, Lenny Lawrence, and whoever the future manager may be, if it's not Mike Flynn, and get better, I don't really have too much of a problem with him making mistakes as long as he comes up good in the end, like Dan Butler has. So he may be one who sweats over his place a bit. I don't think David Pipe can play 2 games a week between now and the end of the season, so we may need some assistance there for him. Another priority for January would be keeping hold of the loan players. Backinson, Semenyo, Harris, and I haven't seen a lot of Pring, but he got his first league goal the other day, and he's the only real cover for Dan Butler, so I can't see why we'd want him to leave. The only loan player who I think most people would be glad to see the back of would be Charlie Cooper, who just doesn't really look up to the level. But that was one of the points I mentioned at the start of the season, that he couldn't get a game at Forest Green last season, who were nearly relegated. And I don't know if that's the kind of player that we really need. I don't think he brings a lot to the side, and he gives away possession quite a lot for someone who's playing in the middle of the park. What I have seen that he does well, he seems to bring plenty of energy to the side, but sometimes that's not enough. You need to have the technical ability to go with it, otherwise you're just a cross-country runner. So I think we're in pretty good shape in a lot of the rest of the squad. We've suffered from injuries, but I think that might be partly down to how many minutes a lot of the players are getting, because we're quite a small squad. But also that adds to that team spirit that we've always had under Flynn, which is a good thing because it was pretty much destroyed under Wesley. So I think those are our main target for January, is bringing in backup at centre back, securing the loans until the end of the season for the players that we want to keep and that have impressed so far. And then maybe we need to start looking at who we want under contract for next season. I definitely think Podge, I'd sign him up now. If the money's there, sign him up for at least another year. Dan Butler, sign him up. Who else is out of contract? Mickey, I'd sign Mickey up for another year. Mark O'Brien, I'm not sure about, just because of his injury track record. He misses a lot of games. When he's fit and when he's available, he is brilliant. But his injury track record probably would put some doubts into the minds of the club when they come to renewing these contracts. I think maybe if he wants it, put Pipey on a player coach deal for another year. Maybe sort of tailor that contract to be more appearance based than salary based. But yeah, he's a good servant to the club, and I think we should reward him with a bit of loyalty. So that's it from me for this week. We're going to look at getting back to more regular uploads like we were at the start of the season. Don't forget to give a like if you enjoyed this podcast. We'll be doing more of them. Subscribe as well on Buzzsprout. We're also on the Amber Army YouTube and on iTunes. Thanks very much, guys. Speak to you next time up the county.